What's up, guys? I am early. I figured I'd jump on. If anything sounds or looks weird, people watching right now, let me know. Let me know what's up. I'll make this as entertaining as I possibly humanly can. So, but I'm gonna wait to start, the festivities once it reaches 3. You know what I need to do? I bet I need to open YouTube, maybe? Who knows? View on YouTube. Yeah, I'm the guy from Spy Kids. I'm Shark Boy, actually. I'm Robert Rodriguez. Ask me anything. I'm director Robert Rodriguez from Spy Kids. Just somebody let me know if this looks and sounds good before we hit that 3 o'clock. Oh man. What if this live stream was just like this? Like that's the whole thing. Jay told me it's working. We've got a great show for you guys tonight. Not really. Maybe I should have asked somebody to do this with me. No, I'm gonna trust me. I can. I'll do my best. Hey, Angela Quinn. Thanks for the support. Let me see. So, like I said, I'll be with you guys in a moment. I'm just gonna see what's up. But I'm gonna start officially at the time that I said I would. I wonder if I remove myself right now. I don't know what's gonna happen. Thank you, Day. I need to shave it again before it's too late. Guys, I will join you in about 10 minutes. This was a teaser. I'm back. Can you hear me? You can hear me. I got really tan. Are you joking? Are you trolling me? Lack Kraken. Yeah, I'm gathering the cues as we speak. We're gonna go. I'm gonna kick it in 5 minutes. How's everyone's day going? Hey, Max. Thanks for being here. I can't go over any of the questions, Damien. That's right. Yeah. Because the TA is going to do that actually in what do they call this? What is it? What are those called? I'm totally blanking. When you have a lecture and then you have like another class thing that you have to attend and it's taught by the TA. That's uh Liam says my day has been fantastic. Not gonna lie. How about you? My day's fine. Sunday's been fine. Oh, did the light just change? No. Yeah, everything's chill. Ba-da-ba. Remember. Let's see. Let's see. I will be talking nonstop once we hit that moment. Appreciate everybody who sent in questions also, just as a fly. Because that is really cool of you. And when I did the 1,000 subscribers thing, I did like 2 videos, which is excessive, but I figure. Ian, I am not in NYC right now. I'm in Minnesota. In Minnesota, it's snowing right now. I might be back there though soon. TBA, to be announced. Liam, thank you for complimenting the tree. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. It's like, is that Red Bull really necessary? Hey, guy. I don't know. I had it. It was lying around, and I'm like, time to get some wings. Time to get some wings, baby. This live stream is brought to you by Red Bull. Graphic. Red Bull, it gives me wings. It's what allows me to record myself on the internet. I'm trying to chug it, so the Red Bull particles reach my brain in time. Oh man, I don't listen. If Red Bull wasn't the sponsor of today's stream, I wouldn't necessarily promote them, but Uh-oh, it's working. It's working. Something to remember. You know what I realized? Excuse me. Since I started the stream early and there's all like this filler, if this is just a recording and like I leave it on my channel, then there's going to be all this garbage in the beginning and nobody's going to watch the stream. Rewind says, "Hey, from California, loved your content. I'm a car designer for Subaru. Love. It's what makes a Subaru. One of our other sponsors today is Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. So this Toyota-thon, why don't you head down to Subaru and buy your loved ones a car as a gift. Subaru. That's very cool. Rewind. That's probably a really cool job. Yeah, I imagine they're like on your case all the time. They're like, you build a better Subaru Outback. That's all anybody wants. All right, it's 3 o'clock on. Friends, welcome to the 10K subscribers live stream. Oh, Jesus. Oh, stop. I'm your host for today's live stream, Christian, and I want to start by thanking you, the fans, for subscribing to the channel and watching the content. Because without you, this wouldn't be a live stream I'd be doing. All right, guys, thank you for being here. I gather you all here today to say that my channel has 10,000 subscribers. Who would have thought it would ever happen? I remember when I made a video celebrating 1,000 subscribers, and that was incredible. Now we're here, and frankly, we gotta really ratchet this stuff up. I need 10 times this much to get that play button from YouTube. So Operation Play Button is a go. But what I wanted to do to make this a little more exciting is answer some Q's. And the A's come from me. And I wanted to like be able to kind of shout out the people who asked them. So I guess I will just comment their name in the comments, like with their handle. So maybe that's enough. If you're watching along or if you're watching this on repeat, I guess you can try to figure it out that way. Maybe that's a horrible idea. Okie dokie, artichokes. And I didn't really look at, I mean, I looked at them, but I haven't really, these answers aren't premeditated. They're like off the top of the dome. So the first one, maybe this is kind of generic, comes from Abraham. Let me try to, I'm going to put his name in his Instagram handle as I'm writing this. This was a bad idea. This was already a bad idea, guys. So, yeah, I think that's right. He asks, generic question, maybe, I don't know. What are your favorite brands right now? You know what? I love Bodhi. Maybe that's generic. Maybe that's a dummy's answer, but gotta support New York brands. And I just think that there is something charming and unique about what Emily Bodhi is doing with her garments that is awfully compelling to me. Bottega Veneta, I talked about before as well. They have that new direction with what's his face, the designer formerly from Celine, and I haven't been as excited about that brand since it's kind of like when J Dubs took over Loewe, and I think Loewe is really cool right now. But these are kind of brands that I admire from a distance. But I don't have any Loewe. Loewe is super expensive, because they kind of think of themselves, or they try to market themselves as the Hermes of Spain. So their garments are pricey, pricey, pricey. All right, here's another one. This is from Liam, who is here right now. And I actually have to look it up because, oh, jeez Louise, this is already a train wreck. I need to look up his actual handle, and I'm going to type it right now. Okie dokie. So Liam asked, what are some of your hobbies or interests outside of fashion and YouTube? Pre-COVID, but also currently, ? Had any hobbies, special interests growing up? Hobbies outside of YouTube. Huh. I don't know. I play a lot of video games, if that counts for anything. Um, which I think it does. Any kind of there is no high or low brow media, if you ask me. And video games are the wave of the future. And I think that at one point in our history, we'll probably think of them in the same ways that we think of like film or photography, which also was considered lowbrow when they first were invented. So I'm playing a lot of video games. I've been playing World of Warcraft, a game I've virtually been playing for 10 years, 16 years or something. But the new expansion just came out and I just started playing again. I mean, I guess there's no better time than the pandemic. But also, Cyberpunk came out, so that's all I've been doing. Um, listen, I play it on my computer for one, and my attitude was coming out of this because I don't know if any of you guys follow Cyberpunk 2077 is the new game by CD Projekt Red, the little known Polish studio before the release of Witcher 3. Witcher 3 was a breakthrough game and considered a accomplishment in gaming for the size, scope, and breadth of its RPG world. With their final return, Cyberpunk 2077 has a lot of bugs. It has bugs on my PC. There are like little things, but I've seen a bunch of stuff online of people complaining, and it's like nowhere near that bad on my PC. Like I'll have like a little glitch here and there. Also, here's the thing about Cyberpunk. I would play it even if it was virtually trash. The aesthetic alone. I mean, I named my channel off of a science fiction novel. I love sci-fi. I love cyberpunk, the genre. I'm really enjoying this game. I think it's pretty good. So I like to play video games. I like to read. I read a lot. I still try to read as much as I can, or ear read, which is another form of reading by listening to an audiobook. Um, Other hobbies include I try to work out as much as I can. And I don't know. I don't know. Because when I think of hobby, I think of is there something I do that's like a skill that I'm getting better at? I do a lot of leisure things. Okay. So Liam, thank you for sending the question. All right. You know, I'm not exactly sure how this name is pronounced. Maybe because I'm stupid. Kali? What books? Oh, well. How did it, why am I seeing this? How did this appear? I don't know. Let me look. Uh, like I'm trying to think of. You know, I've been. You know what I realized recently is sometimes I'll go down these rabbit holes where I'm like, I don't know anything about this subject X, and one of them was economics. I don't even know how economics works. Like, it's just a study that I've never taken a class on, and so I virtually am an idiot about. So I started reading and listening to audiobooks about economics and personal finance because honestly, guys, I could use some money. So JK, just kidding. You know, I'm actually early reading. I'm listening to Indistractable, which is totally unrelated. And it was written by Near, and his last name is Eyal. The reason I picked this one up is because it was popular on the Audible, but the guy, the author, I actually worked with on a podcast that I used to produce. He was one of the guests, and I remember him being really cool as a guest. And he also mentioned World of Warcraft in the episode of the podcast. So I was like, I might as well give his book a try. But other than that, I'm reading things like The Millionaire Next Door, A Random Walk Through Wall Street. I bought that Bob Woodworth book, Rage. It's a little dense for me. I'm also I read the E Myth. I'm trying to think of this channel as like a business, so I'm trying to learn money. I'm just trying to learn money so that I can get my hands on some of it for once in my life. But am I reading any like fiction? Not right now. I am always open to reading a good fiction, a novel, but good is the word, because the GF Caroline, my light just died. Also, I mean, it still looks good. Caroline is always complaining that I read a lot of garbage books, which I do. I read a lot of like the self-help genre and all that sort of stuff. The podcast I used to help produce was actually a self-help podcast, so that kind of is how it all tied together. But I'm definitely rambling right now. If anybody has a good novel to suggest for me, and I mean good, I will probably read it. All right, we got to get to the next question. I don't know how Beth, I don't know how your comment appeared up there, but it's just beyond me. So, favorite album? Man, I'm trying to feed all this. Isaac just recently asked favorite albums. Also, any content creators you know that look at non-normative body types. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. In the same way, I'm not sure how Beth got her question, what books up here, and whether or not it disappears. In terms of favorite albums, I like a lot of different music. I'm like eclectic like that. What came out recently? You know what I do want to listen to? I do want to listen to that Kid Cudi album that came out. I want to hear how good he hums in this one. I'm like, ooh. And I freaking love Tame Impala. I have loved Tame Impala since their since Innerspeak. And then I remember when Lonerism came out, like 2012 or something, I was like, this is the most underrated band in the world. And by currents, now they're properly rated. They're like mainstream, basically. But the most recent album, I loved that. That was like my album of the year. You guys might think this is cringe, but what's his face? Little Uzi Vert. I listened to that new album. What's it called? Eternal Take. I think it's good. I like that. I also like to listen to what the kids are listening to. I can't say that. I'm sorry, dude. Do you remember? All right. So hold on. I gotta go back to this. I'm just finding something, guys. Just chill. Just freaking chill. Okay. This is the next question I'm answering from our good friend. I don't know if it's Colleen. Well, he actually submitted it fits for the Fit and Glow Up episode. It's not never anyone else. It's always my fault for being dumb. So this is the next question I'm answering. If you had to choose for the rest of your life, would you choose a hoodie or a sweatshirt? I'm currently wearing a sweatshirt. And if I had to choose one for the rest of my life, well, in my mind, like right now, I'm going like, well, a hoodie is probably more material. There's the hood and there's usually a pocket. Sweatshirts don't always have that. But if I'm thinking of me and kind of what I think is like more iconic, sweatshirt. I'd pick sweatshirt for the rest of forever. Because this is so simple and plain. It's almost like the opposite of clothes. It's anti-clothes. And I just like how comfortable they are. I love hoodies. I'm going to do another hoodie video coming up. I've got something I'm cooking up, and I think you're going to really love it. Oh my God, I didn't know Christian was like a beautiful singer. Sorry I'm so obnoxious. I just there is some impulse in my mind to try to constantly fill these moments with space, like with anything, with sounds, with me acting out of fear that if it's silent, I might have to think my own thoughts. Okay, next question from Brandon. Who are your favorite music artists? Well, I was kind of answering that already. Um, Kevin Parker of Tame Impala, like I said. It's hard to say favorite. You know, you know what I love? You know what group I love? Group Death Grips. I love that. I do. I'm insane. Death Grips, I love how grating and aggressive in like cyberpunk. It really is. You know what? Death Grips is cyberpunk. It makes sense that I like it. I also really enjoy parquet courts. I have for the time that I've been in New York. I feel like to some degree because not only the lyrics refer to living in New York, but the music sounds like living in New York. It's like a grating, continuous grind that's destroying you. So those are three. But do I have? It's hard to. It's always hard to do favorites of all time. Mhm. This guy, Style and Fashion. I don't think he was actually sending this question in for this live stream. I think I Magnus Ronning released a video and I commented and asked him to add me on WoW because he mentioned World of Warcraft. So this is the question I'm answering. What class do you play on WoW? Or what did he say? Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't have a main, but I play a lot of Arms Warrior. I'm an Orc Arms Warrior. I should really post a picture of him because he's really like barbaric looking. And that's like I am role playing. I'm his look right now is me living the role play that I want to play. So he's an arms warrior, and some people underestimate arms in PvP, but it's like I wrecking ball people. It's like I juggernaut. Sometimes my character will juggernaut and just like slice everyone in half. I love playing him. I also have a demon hunter, a mage, and a paladin that are all either like max level or like were max level before the expansion. If I was going to say which class, also a shaman. That's like 5 or 6 characters. I shouldn't have that many, but I've had this account for like since I was in middle school. Uh, if I would identify or say like what's my favorite class, at least in lore, it's paladin. I want to be a paladin in real life. Bring back KTT Christian. I, I'm stupid. I don't know what the acronym means. I mean I can't just keep blaming stupidity on all of my faults. All right. This is the next person who asked a question. What do you think about customs and custom market as well? Would it be the future of streetwear? Pinocchio. I guess that's him saying, I don't know what that's him saying, ending with the Pinocchio emoji. Customs, West Coast customs, like Pimp My Ride. So I used to know this guy in New York called Steez. I think that's his IG handle. And he does customs. And I always thought it was interesting that was like his pursuit and passion to customize things. Do I think it's the future of streetwear? I don't know. Because it seems like it's more or less a thing for either people with too much money to buy or just people who are really, really enthusiastic. I think it's kind of interesting, but I don't think the future of any kind of fashion exists in things that are so limited. Not like I think that the future of fashion could very well be something where everybody's creating their own thing. In the cyberpunk future, we'll all just be able to print on demand the clothes that we want. But this is a little too exclusivo, which I don't necessarily. I don't think it's going to be the future, and I don't necessarily support it unless it becomes a movement of so many artists creating constantly. You want to know a funny story though, and I mentioned this on my Discord. So I have recently, or in the last couple of subscribers, I'm starting to get these emails or DMs from these like replica sellers from China, and they want to send me like replicas, I guess, in exchange for a video. And I haven't said yes yet, but one of them, I got one recently, and I just like was out of curiosity. I check out their website to see what they're trying to sell, like knockoffs. And one of the sneakers that they were trying to sell was a knockoff of the replica artist that I mentioned earlier, C's, who I used to work with in New York. And what's so funny is, and I could be wrong, the sneaker that they were selling a fake of, this custom sneaker, was one of a kind. And the original pictures, the pictures I assume they based this replica off of, were taken by me. So this company is now selling, or tried to offer me, in essence, a fake version of the sneaker that they must have made based on my mediocre pictures. That's kind of a funny story. Could you cook up a video about eyewear? Maybe. I have stigmatism in both eyes. I cannot see anything without corrective lenses. I'm currently wearing contacts. I almost always wear contacts in videos. I don't know, because I think I'm more handsome that way. But I could be wrong. I'm just looking for the next one. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? This is gonna blow your mind. I'm not a huge fan. So the next one comes from Graham, and I'm going to write in his IG handle as I do. And he asks, how have you seen your style progress since you first got into clothes, and how do you see your style maturing in the coming years? That's a tough question. I mean, when I first took an interest in fashion back in high school, it was kind of still on the Renaissance wave, and like workwear was big, and I just kind of soaked up anything that I could get my hands on. I was just obsessed with magazines because I didn't really have a lot of great. I had poor internet access essentially. I could only really use high-speed internet at school or the library. So magazines is where I soaked up all the fashion that I was interested in. And so that was, I mean, a lot of it just because GQ, Esquire, these magazines, they only want to shoot the best, and the luxury brands are the ones that are advertising for them, and they're the ones sending them samples. So that was what I first kind of knew and fell in love with. But in high school, I didn't have the brains or the money to get those pieces. So I just wore a lot of thrifted stuff, a lot of just like experimenting with anything. Where do I see it maturing in the future? Where do I see my style going to? I think I've kind of mentioned this in like an advanced aesthetic episode. And the fantasy I have is first and foremost getting into place like these perfect pieces that I could build the rest of my wardrobe off of. And that in its, I guess at its core would be like luxury garments that I think are just idealized versions of whatever I want to put into place. It's a really hard thing to say. I don't know what the future holds for my style. I think that one of the biggest things holding me back is kind of, I mean, I just don't have the money to buy clothes really right now. And I mean, it's up to me. I have to figure that out. I need to, just because, I mean, obviously this year has not put me in a position to blow a lot of money. And I always think to myself, well, if I had more money, like if I had infinite amount of dollars, I'd be the most stylish person on earth. I would buy all the coolest stuff. But the way that I think of it, guys, is that is like a learned helplessness thing. If you want something, you have to figure out a way to get it. So, how do you limit your spending wardrobe size? Well, I do it. It's pretty easy for me to limit that. I go, well, I can either buy a clothes or not pay for food. This isn't supposed to. Let's go to the next one. Do you remember Kobe? The reigning champ. Yes. He asks, who are your style influences? Whose style do you want to emulate, and whose do you appreciate from a distance? Without wanting to integrate into your style. You know what's funny is that the reigning champ, he wears a lot of like tech wear on his Instagram. And at least to answer the last part of his question, whose style do I admire from a distance, but not necessarily am integrating? Tech wear influencers. I just think that is so cool. You know what? I forgot to do something. I'm backpedaling. Graham, actually, he sent in the last question. He asked me the question about where I see my style evolving, and I just wanted to give a shout out to his YouTube channel, which I discovered recently. I believe it's called Variety Show. Let me just like look it up and like link the link. So he does YouTube videos that are fashion. You know how it is. And if I go to subscriptions, I bet I could find it. And I checked out his stuff recently, and I think that it's the type of thing that you guys would be into. So I would like to take this more or less organic opportunity to shout out his channel. Sorry, I'm gonna be crazy energized and engaged as soon as I find. I'm almost certain it's called Variety Show. You know what I can do though? I think I have a link to it somewhere. And if I can find the link, then I could definitely type in the answer to what I'm trying to say. The name of the channel is Variety Show. It is a channel about fashion, the type of fashion that you and I love and enjoy. And sure, there's plenty of fish in the sea. But I say check out his channel. Beth, I'm assuming you did something superb to have what books just remain right there, and I appreciate it. Let me see. Are there any ones that maybe I should look at the chat? Zia, on a similar note, how many clothing items do you keep at a time? Will you let something go? This summer I sold a bunch of pieces. When I was doing those resale videos and talking about Grailed, I actually tried to sell pieces. Like I had 2 vintage Dior Homme, like I think they were Eddie Salmon era Dior Homme shirts that I just didn't wear. They were too small for me. I sold those. I had an Acne Studio shirt that I sold. What else did I get rid of? I got rid of a couple of like a handful of designer pieces that I just wasn't wearing. And like at the end of the day, it's like I felt like I was holding on to it for like nostalgic purposes, but it's like it's not. There is no use for this. I just need to move on and get rid of it because I don't know. I just don't think you should hold on to things just to hold on to them. I think it's like a waste. So that is something that is kind of an answer to that. Will Henderson said he can't stay for long because he's studying for a final. I don't believe this. Just wing it, dude. Why study? Why go to school? Why go to med school? Girl, it'll be different this time. Let's see, Talking Heads. Katie asked, do you see a difference between women's fashion YouTube and men's fashion YouTube? I guess. I mean, Io from the Fashion Archivist talks about this more, I think, but he mentioned or noticed that as men's this channel and that all the other channels that are like it, as we're kind of moving towards more analytical content, that is there's something kind of unique in that. Whereas a lot of women's fashion YouTube seems to have a dearth of it. I don't think that's across the board the case. Um, but I think this is what it really comes down to. Women on in general in Western culture care about fashion more, and there's a lot more women who spend money on fashion. So there are a lot more women influencers in fashion long before there were even like these other men content stuff. And just in general, the fashion content has always been more or less I don't want to say superficial, but it's been like pickups or style, or it's been kind of material for non-fashion enthusiasts. I think that there is no need, or like there shouldn't be any difference between the two at this point. I think that women or a woman can and probably is making like very similar content to me, in that, I don't know, irreverent and analytical and goofy. Because at least in part because the distinction between men's and women's fashion is becoming less and less relevant in for like what is really cool. What are some of your favorite collections of all time? Um, Off the top of my dome, right here. Shoot. I don't really know. I don't really have a great answer for that. It's not to say like something I've done since before it was Vogue Runway, when it was style.com. I used to go on style.com all the time. I am just enthusiastic about seeing runway shows online. Um, but what are my favorites of all time? I don't know. It's a kind of question that I think I would have to return to, because it's just like, I don't know. What do you do for fun? I already answered that. I play video games and read books. Look at the screen. Uh, in short, women be shopping. Isn't that? I think that's well, I think Hannibal Buress said bitches be shopping in an episode of the Eric Andre show, if I remember correctly, which was a very funny joke. What are some your unpopular opinions or hot takes on fashion trends and stuff? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I want to be as controversial and attention grabbing as possible. So, what are my hot takes? I think a lot of people are too pretentious. That's one hot take. In this community, I think this community could be too pretentious, too self-serious, and I think that there is an obsession over what is perceived to be cool and trying to behave in a cool way. And maybe I'm being kind of vague, and maybe this isn't really a critique of fashion as much as it is a critique of, obviously you can tell based on how I'm acting in the content that I've produced. I don't take myself too seriously. And I try to be comical about a subject that honestly is in the past been very elite. It's been very exclusive, exclusivo, and it's been perceived very much as like inaccessible. I'm my one goal with the channel would be to reverse that, to make it feel more accessible to anyone, in the same way that, like, what do you call it, like Bob Ross taught people how to paint and how to love themselves, or something, or like Bill Nye taught people that science rules. I would love to eventually teach people that fashion and design and art is cool, and you might be just some dude walking off the street, but I want to share a story with you that I think even you are going to find interesting. That is what I want to do. And I think the opposite of that is lame. Is there another hot take that I have? Um, like I had to squint to think about it. I think you guys that I see on Instagram, you're probably spending too much money on clothes. I mean, you should. Clothing is worth as much as the value that it brings to you. And I think that is eternal. But I do see a lot of people on IG with like a lot of clothes, and if it's not your daddy's credit card, then it's your credit card, and it's like you are more than welcome to spend as much money as you want on clothes. But if you're just got like a teenager job and you're spending all your money on like one pair of Rick Owens pants, I don't know, dude. You probably need to buy a car. I don't know. Most underrated piece of clothing, underwear. Imagine not having it. Uh, like a singular garment that is underrated. Hmm. I don't know. Because I'm like my mind goes to like designers and like what pieces have designers created that are super cool? Guidi boots? No. Sometimes it's hard for me to come up with a hot take. Whenever you spend a large amount of money on a single piece, do you have a problem with wearing it organically, allowing it to get dirty? You know what? I'll say this, Tim. I don't. I don't. With maybe some exceptions, my feeling is that if I bought a garment and I love it, I gotta wear this. I gotta wear this as normally and as lovingly as possible. Like I have a story at fall in the chestnut suede, like brown or tan suede, and I haven't treated those gingerly. And they look fine. I take relatively good care of them. I put shoe trees in, but it's like I won't wear them. I won't be like, well, the humidity is this much today, and if it possibly even gets wet, then I can't wear them. It's like, then what's the point of having boots? If you're like worried that they're gonna get a little bit wet, then just don't even wear shoes. I don't know. The like I If you saw my last video, the Levi's one, I was wearing one of my Acne Studios. It's like a tank top in this really superb thick material. The one caveat I will say is like when I'm wearing something like that, I will try to avoid getting stains on it as much as I can. Like I drink coffee like this. I'll drink coffee like this because I just don't want it's white. I just don't want to stain it. In one of your videos, Mr. Pricks asked this. Mention a possible zeitgeist challenge to something like neo sincerity. What are some brands that you think embody something similar? I imagine that is something I said. That sounds like something crazy, I would say. What brands do I think do that? Maybe Bodhi does. I mentioned them earlier, but their desire to return to something traditional and something tied to location and intimacy it comes off to me as very sincere in certain ways. It's harder to say with a fashion brand. I do think narrative is a big part of it. We're buying a story, we're buying some fantasy, but it's not always told in the same way. Like you could identify whether like some story, like a narrative, a novel is postmodern and ironic or irreverent or any of those things, whereas like a different novel would be entirely sincere. So it's hard for me to answer that. My stock answer is Bodhi, but thank you for asking. Wearing my mohair boxers right now. I bet he does. Who is Shogun? What is his deal? I think he still has more subscribers than me. Wendy's. I'm sorry. Wendy. Am I supposed to? I'm supposed to find her question, right? Am I answering a question about Wendy's? Have you ever eaten at Wendy's? Somebody asked, have you ever eaten at Wendy's? I don't know if that's what you want me to answer now. If not, somebody is a major in fashion worth it? I didn't major in fashion, so I wouldn't know. I mean, I know people who studied fashion design at Parsons and FIT. Um, One of my former roommates studied fashion design at Parsons, and then he worked at Parenza Schuler for a while. And he probably wouldn't have gotten that opportunity or had the capacity to work that job if he hadn't gone to a fashion design school that is, very visible in New York City. With all that in mind, it was kind of a miserable job for him. He was working constantly and he was treated like trash. So I don't know if he loved that experience. And it kind of feels like to me, maybe I'm wrong. Well, a lot of fashion design, there is a lot of more technical things that you learn. So that is extremely valuable. And it's really hard to teach yourself those things in the wild. A degree in fashion, it all depends, I think you guys, let me say this. I think if you're like in high school or whatever the equivalent of high school is in other countries, um, and you are contemplating going to college to study fashion, well, I mean, my suggestion would be if it's all the same to you, if nothing else is different, I would consider take a gap year and try to make something. Does that sound silly? I don't think so. Um, I think I know this was my fault. This was my folly. When I was entering college, all I wanted was to go to New York City and work in fashion somehow, some way. I don't know doing what. I don't know. And that is one of the reasons that we go to college. But if you are just really interested in working in fashion, I kind of challenge you to explore making something, anything, whatever that is, before you run off to college, if possible. Because I think the greatest problem is, I mean, college is super expensive, and if you can, you're going to learn more or in a certain way doing things rather than taking classes on it. I guess what I'm saying is, if you have the opportunity, it's better to be active and try something than to be passive and take out huge loans. I don't know. I am a dilettante, so take that with a grain of salt. I love to learn. I love school. I wish real life was as easy as school was for me, because school, all you do is do the homework assignments and read and whatever. They tell you what to do. Basically, that's easy. In real life, they don't tell you what to do. Have you ever eaten at Wendy's? I have. I like how their burgers are square. Do you have a fashion education? How much money did it cost? I don't. But I do have an education that cost a big number. Huge. I studied English and journalism at New York University, an elite college, you might say. You also might call it very expensive. But I wanted to go there and I got the opportunity to transfer there. And studying journalism, I mean, my goal was I wanted to work for GQ. That was the one thing I wanted to do. So I did everything around that. I interned at Esquire for a period of time, and that I think was one of the most exciting experiences I had in the city because I was in a real fashion closet. Um, mm, it's kind of hard. I think I'm dyslexic. I mean, I say I think, but there are a lot of signs that point to that, which made working as a journalist very hard. Because when you start off, really what they want you to do is copy editing. It just was not my skill set. But I still carry a lot of that tool set when I try to do these videos, I guess. I never studied fashion. I just tried to work in fashion and do anything fashion related. And I just ate up any fashion I got my hands on. In a lot of ways, maybe that's not a bad thing. Fashion was always going to be the thing I was obsessed with. I was going to teach myself certain things without anyone's advice. But There are certainly things that I wish I knew more, like marketing, fashion marketing, buying, certain skills that would open specific doors would have been great to have learned in school. Do you ever deal with the stigma of being called materialistic for wearing expensive clothes despite buying and wearing it because you enjoy it? I don't deal with that. Um, Materialistic? I don't know. That to me, and I have to remind myself, like, not everybody is growing up in a progressive or metropolitan place. And at least when I was growing up, like nobody, a guy caring about fashion was like, I might as well have come from outer space. So I can understand that kind of. I can understand the question. Like I don't want to come off as materialistic. I mean, this was how I would flip it and zip it. It's a hobby. It is a collection in the same way that people collect anything else. Those things that we collect, whether they're Pokemon cards or archive Raf Simmons, can be expensive and they could be absurd, but they're relevant to me and to the other people in my community. And I guess what I would say is to not come off as materialistic, or what your answer would be to that is, for one, I think you need to be confident in yourself. I mean, if somebody called me materialistic, I'd be like, sure I am, because I don't care that it's empty if somebody's making that argument to me, and if they wanted to actually get to know me, they would find out that I'm not that way. I'm more sophisticated. But I would just say you appreciate. I think of it as a hobby and a form of expression, and try to express that to the people you talk to. That it's just something that is fulfilling for you because of everything around it. It's not about flexing, presumably. It's about being more authentic and owning something that you really appreciate. Michael, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you saying that. I don't know if you're gone by now. Is a major in fashion worth it? I answered that. Um, oh, you know what? Michael was actually answering. He's actually studying fashion. I never did. Uh, um, it's like Parsons, which I've known multiple people who went there. Is considered by some to be one of like the best school. And actually, a person, I'll say, friend, enemy. I don't know. Could they be watching right now? I doubt it. They went to Central St. Martin's and then transferred to Parsons. And what do you call it? St. Martin's. It seems like it was insane and intense. Parsons, I think, is maybe like more low, like chill, because that's what New York City's known for, being chill. But I bet they teach you a lot of how to succeed in the industry. Like I know people who went to Parsons and now work for Ralph Lauren. But like I said, studying fashion design, you learn a lot of technical skill that would be kind of necessary in order to land a job. But at the end of the day, guys, we have access to the internet. We could literally learn everything about everything. If you want to do something, just do it. Go and try right now and make a billion mistakes doing it, and like slowly learn how to make your own garment. If you actually had the capacity, the discipline, the ambition, or just the desire to just like, I want to design a thing, and you teach yourself and you actually put it into motion, in all likelihood, the skills that you learn and the kind of tools that you're exercising will make you more successful than somebody who studied at a university, just because that's the nature of things. Successful people are action oriented. Do you have a favorite movie, favorite with a U, favorite, that inspired your fashion style in any way? The Matrix. No, I think The Matrix actually has really cool costumes. And I think it just turned like we've culture has morphed it to be like cringy because it was such a popular movie. But I think that the costumes in that are superb. I also love The Fifth Element. I think I've been meaning to make a Fifth Element video for a while. Jean-Paul Gaultier did the costumes for that movie. And like I said, sci-fi is my favorite genre. And I can't say that I didn't necessarily dress that way. Has anything have I, what movies do I see have I seen and I immediately wanted to dress sort of like that? Here's a cringe answer, but you know what? Go back and watch it, and then also imagine that you're younger, or if you're already younger, then you're fine. Fight Club. You know, I just thought Brad Pitt's character Tyler Durden, the way that he was so like not caring and dressed in such a flamboyant manner. Like when they're selling soap bars at one part, he's wearing like a red suit. And I just thought that the energy of that character and the costumes they put him in was really exciting or interesting to me. Um, how much is fashion education? Depends on who you ask, I guess. Can you save the stream? I'm trying to. I will try. What are your coordinates? Guess again, not gonna happen. What steps did you take to get to your dream fashion job? And does the harsh competition make it even worth trying? Everything is worth trying. You definitely should try. If you want to do something, you should try 100%. If you don't try, what's the point? I mean, you gotta have a belief. You can recognize that luck plays a role in everything and anybody's success. Even my meager success right now, I've been extremely lucky to be in certain places at certain times and have the opportunities that I do. But you also need it almost like a mental need to believe that you have agency. Your actions result in something. And that if you keep trying, you will eventually get there. I mean, I kind of did, right? I wanted to work at a don't ask me more. Just don't keep names out of your mouth. I wanted to work at a resale company doing social media stuff. That was my goal, and I did it. I made it happen. The way that I did it was a lot of applying to things, a lot of resume writing, which what a waste of my life. What a waste that was. All the kind of networking and resume writing I tried to do. In retrospect, I understand that. But you know, if you're starting your career, I think it's important to at least look professional a little bit. But you know, what it came down to really was a matter of understanding how I was going to market myself to a company and having the experience or skills in place and continuing to foster a relationship with people in the industry as much as I could, friends, really. So what ended up happening was I saw the job opening and I said, hey, doesn't X know somebody? Like he went to high school with somebody who's currently working at company Z? And he did. And I asked them to put in a good word for me. And that's how it happened. Baby. Finally, the system works for me. But, you know, it would have never happened if I didn't have jobs in fashion and I wasn't a friendly guy who is hilarious and fun to hang out with, who X wanted to potentially help out. You know, I didn't go to college with him. I didn't, you know, we didn't meet at elite boarding school. He grew up on a different part of the country than me. He was just my friend. And through that, I got an opportunity to later be fired. Thanks for asking. Z just said boomers. Boomer! Favorite jacket of all time? Favorite jacket of all time? Probably like a Yoji Yamamoto piece or something. Like, I forget what collection it was. There was like a collection that was vaguely recently where he had like black silk coats with like red patterns on them, and seeing those in real life, I'm like, this is exquisite. Issey Miyake. I hope I always forget how you're supposed to pronounce it. It was a coat maybe from the 90s. It was super oversized. It was incredible. I should have picked it up. I didn't. I also had maybe you guys are gonna freak. A while ago, I had the opportunity to pick up a Yoji overcoat, like black wool, like classic Yoji piece for like $300, $200. And today, like looking back at it, I'm like, I should have done that. It was too big for me, but I should have just made it work. It was the mainline Yoji Yamamoto overcoat. And the fact that I had the opportunity to get it for so cheap, I'm not the smartest sometimes. I was just like, well, am I going to waste $300 on a coat that doesn't fit? Is fast fashion really dying? If so, what will be the alternative? Everyone's buying from smaller brands. Is it dying? The guy who created Zara is like the richest man in Spain and like one of the richest people in the world. I don't know, because based on how people behave and consumerism, I don't think that we've I guess it's just going to take a tsunami destroying a major city. We just don't care about the fact that the planet is dying. And I don't think their behaviors are changing fast enough. If that was going to happen, I think that it could be everybody buys just from smaller brands, but it could very well be something like this. People only buy, or they spend more money on certain garments and they just don't buy garments constantly, which would be a better alternative. It's kind of like what it was like in the past. Excuse me. I'm just trying to, I like answering your questions in the stream. Hi, good job of getting 10K subscribers. He was just wishing me a Merry Christmas. Favorite Skittle flavor? Red. What inspired you to create YouTube content compared to IGTV or TikToks? Well, when I started it, TikTok wasn't really there. IGTV seems bogus. Because I saw other people doing it on YouTube. Because I saw content creators, I discovered them, and I just felt like, wow, these guys are really cool. I wish I was like them. And you know, because I'm so zany and have such a deep-seated need for attention, I'm like, I should do this. Should I make TikToks? The answer is yes, realistically. If I want this channel to continue to grow, I need to start raking in those TikTok followers. I just don't know what to do on there really without it being corny or useless or not like manufactured, you know? Because like when I make videos on here, I can be very intelligent about it, and I can be like, I have a plan to grow this and monetize it or whatever. I can be business savvy, so to speak, but I'm doing it out of a place of you know, earnest interest and creativity. It doesn't feel like a job, so to speak. You know, it's not my job, by the way. I do not make enough money to live on this. But I started watching TikToks maybe 2 years ago for a job, and I thought they were really funny. And about 2 years ago, it still felt very new and it felt very organic, where people were doing stuff, were posting stuff, not for clout or fame or because it's this social media and you have to. At the time, at least, it felt like TikTok was just people earnestly playing in a silly internet playground. I'm sure it has changed since that point. If I were to make TikToks, which I do need to, so if you guys want to send me, like literally, if you see fashion TikToks, feel free to send them to me. I need to start looking at them. So please, even if everything on there is corny, if it's corny, it doesn't matter to me really. I would just like to see what people are doing. I genuinely believe that whatever the medium is, realistically, I could do something interesting on it. Chris can't talk about that. Christian Sternoble. Tilda Swinton's character in Burn After Reading dresses so well. I saw that movie again recently. Tilda Swinton's just it. You know what's my favorite movie with Tilda Swinton in it? Constantine, starring Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is like a Van Helsing kind of character who like works for God or something in that movie. And Tilda Swinton is the Archangel Gabriel. And I think it was interesting for them to pick her because angels in the Bible, they were genderless. And that's how she kind of plays that character. So just make short, punchy video. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Your favorite song, or I already kind of answered that. Parquet Courts and Death Grips. Rage. Kind of. I need to answer some of the other IG questions. Checks or stripes? An age-old question. I want to say checks because Nike was the underdog and is American, and I am an American down into my heart and my soul, and there is something about their brand that I think is very much cool to some degree, how they've always advertised and kind of the products they make. But Adidas, as we call it in America, has totally been way ahead of Nike in terms of getting high fashion involved. And I have the Oswego's. I still have them, and I definitely thought of those certain collections from Adidas more than like Nike. I just think Nike's more iconic in my mind, and it's just like the Nike store in Soho is super cool. I think it's super cool. Shorter videos, yeah, I guess so, but that's like, how do we even get followers on TikTok? What is it? What do you just end up on somebody's For You page? Does that make me any money? But I do think there's probably a dearth of good content like that. You know why I know? Because Caroline watches TikToks. Caroline's obsessed with TikToks, and not to her, none of her. It's not her fault, but she'll just be swiping through them, and I constantly will hear these really dumb videos where it's like somebody explaining something, and they have like a really there's a TikTok explaining voice, but it's like nonsense. It's like, anyway, as I was saying, your moonbeam will explain why your toenails don't grow. And this is, and like they act like they're so informative and they're so like righteous and correct in providing this advice. And it's like, you're talking about nonsense. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. So needless to say, based on that, I think that a lot of people on TikTok are either just young or stupid. And there could be a lot of value added if somebody as smart as me made content. Do you think Keanu is a good actor? Whoa, Morpheus? Hello? I know Kung Fu. Um, yeah, I've always thought he was entertaining. Once again, because of The Matrix. In the 80s is when he really came on the scene, and he was obviously a heartthrob. He made like being a stoner sexy for teenagers all across America. And I think to some extent, he kind of, even as he became an adult, was almost quasi unable to not be like a stoner character. Like you think of Speed, he's like, if this train bus goes too slow, we're all gonna die. And it's like, are you still high? Are you high right now? This bus is rigged to blow up. I hope you're not. Somebody's got to bring what's his face, Cameron, from Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Sandra Bullock that you need to save the both of them. So I don't know if that answers anything. I think Keanu is entertaining. I think he plays that John Wick character well. And for what it's worth, so far in Cyberpunk, I have thought he's been a convincing Cyberpunk. I read somewhere that people thought his performance was stiff. So far, I don't think it's stiff. I mean, plaid by check. Oh my god. High Fashion Talk just mentioned this. Did I answer checks over stripes? Like I was thinking we were talking about Adidas and Nike? Maybe. I'm like just scrolling through to make sure there's like a lot of. How long have you done YouTube? Please read the text. I'm reading it. I mean, look at my first video. How long ago was that? A year? 2 years ago? 2 years, I think. I've been doing it for that long. The band, I don't know that band. What drew your interest towards fashion? I think I've answered this in the past. I don't know what. My mother worked as a designer before I was born. And I never lived in the metropolitan area. Like I never grew up there. My parents moved to rural parts of the country. So I definitely picked up a lot from her. But I just didn't know about fashion really until magazines. I just fell in love with it. I don't know what it was. I was never pushed. It was never even assumed that I would do something like this, I guess, in my family. Um, Something about it just really clicked for me. And I think in part it was I was entering puberty and I was interested. I wanted to identify myself because I felt like I don't know. So that was kind of, I'm going to like try to answer more Instagram ones if I haven't. Echo. Okay, I guess I'll answer this. Do you cut your own hair? Yeah, that's why I started shaving it because I do my own hair. I have with the virus, I have not been going to stylists or barbers, and this seemed interesting. Okay, I'll answer some. This is the one from Instagram. I mean, I guess I should answer this. He's asking, what are your thoughts on Staatsballett, which is Avery Ginsburg's brand? Um, I wonder if Max is still here. He's always taken a large interest in it, and I kind of have engaged with the brand, so to speak, mostly when I was hanging out with Max. I've never purchased anything from them. I think that at least, I mean, do they have new stuff on their website? I wonder what's going to happen with that. I wonder if Avery is still interested in growing that brand now that he has broken up with. I'm drawing a blank on his girlfriend, and he's got that pineapple leather one. Like I think that they make. Well, how would I want to say? Like, I like. I'm not trying to. I'm not being critical. I'm trying to be concise or provide some kind of nuance. I mean, like I could scroll through and I think these are a lot of basics, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that they genuinely, they're paying more attention to construction and silhouette, which is at the end of the day more interesting. There is it's like almost like a artisanal vibe. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of garments that they might sell at Atelier in New York. And for that reason, I think that that's chill and dope, because I think at the end of the day, you should create clothes that you think would serve people better, that people would want. and you should create clothes that are fulfilling for you as a designer, I imagine. Uh, in like to answer like price point, I think price point, it probably comes down to two things. Like I'm looking at some of the stuff, it's like $250 for pants. I think that to buy or to make these clothes, probably in the small batches that they do, and to make them as well as they do, the margin on that is going to be pretty expensive for them. But I imagine that there is an element of kind of asserting the what they perceive the value is, like what they're saying, this is how valuable we think our design are or our brand is. And if you respect that, if you think that that's true, then jump on board. This is how much it costs. I don't think that there is I mean, you could price anything at anything. That's your prerogative. But I don't necessarily think of that as a bad thing. As long as you create a product and have a brand to back that up, you can make it that price, regardless of where you came from, whether you studied at Parsons or began your fashion journey through YouTube. You know what? I probably mentioned this before. I think that the YouTubers who used to make content and started a brand and left, I wish they were still making content. I think that I mean, I don't know. This is an excellent platform to sell your clothes. So I'm announcing my new brand. One day. No, I gotta sell you guys stuff. I gotta figure out how to make money. What do you guys want to buy from me? Feel free to answer down below. What would you buy from me? And I'll make it. Whatever it is. I need money, guys. I need it. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I am. What if I actually started crying? There would be nothing wrong with that. Here's another one from Instagram. Hey, I'm having fun, guys. As long as the numbers are relatively high in the stream, I'll keep answering. I do have to leave at I have to leave by 5. I have another commitment, and I should eat. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'm still here. Don't leave. Nobody leave. Don't leave. You're my only friends. All right, next question. From this guy who I just typed into the Instagram. I mean, whatever it is. How do you go about stepping outside of your comfort zone? I really want to start wearing more 70s inspired fits with a bit of androgyny, but it's very hard for me to do anything besides streetwear. Not only that, but I feel somewhat pressured by my family to normal. Man, let me tell you, friend. My family were bullies to me. My family bullied me. In part because I don't know, maybe they thought it was silly that I liked fashion because I'm a man. And maybe it was silly because I would wear kind of outrageous clothing in rural America where it stands out pretty significantly. And they would always like call me names like Elvis or something like that. And I was like, you don't get me. One day I'll be where I belong. And then the internet will know me. And they'll all come to my live stream. So I'll say that. I know what that's like. Kelly's trying to FaceTime me. I'm still on the stream. And I know what it's like to feel like pressured to be a certain way. I think that realistically, how do you do that? How do you start stepping out of your comfort zone? Maybe try little by little. I think ultimately the reality is this. You have to be confident and you have to want it. It has to feel necessary to you, as I think it has for me, and it probably has for a lot of other people. It's felt necessary to express yourself in this way, to create this aesthetic with your clothing. And at least for me, it felt like when I was younger, before I moved to like the city, that I was dressing only for myself. That if anybody saw me, they'd probably think I was a weirdo to some degree. whether, and maybe that weirdo-ness intrigued them or repelled them. But I never grew up in a place where somebody would see me and they would understand that I was cool. Like, oh, he's cool. That never happened until I moved to the city. But I did it anyway because it was engaging for my nut up here because it felt necessary. So if you have the same impulse, how do you start becoming a little more 70s and 70s? First up, just be cool. Like, be chill. Be like so cool, like a cool kid at your high school that, like, even if you start to dress like that, people are like, oh man, that must be what's cool. That's trick number one. Trick number two, I would say, is try a little at a time. Because you can try a little at a time and kind of ease into it before you walk out in like a Saturday Night Fever outfit. And number three is have a thick skin, kind of. And your family might be a good or bad place, maybe a good place to develop that. I think it was for me. My family teasing me made it so that when I got, made fun of in school, I was already like, you can't handle the flavor, all right? I was already, I don't care what you think, bro, because you're lame and I'm not. So, developing a thick skin, so to speak, because if you feel like you aren't in a place where people can appreciate it, or you feel embarrassed or nervous, you can be there one day. And expressing yourself, dressing for at least yourself, isn't wrong. It's not a sin. You're not going to go to hell for that, I don't think. Let me see, what have you guys asked good questions on here. OnlyFans? No, maybe. Was that an answer for making money? Okay. That's a tough cookie. Okay, so I have to make an OnlyFans. Oof, oof, oof. That is a sin. If I did that. Some guy said we got Crocs. I can't make that. Hair. I can't do that. Cool T-shirt is more reasonable. Feet pics. That is easy. High Fashion Talk said OnlyFans too. Come on, man. Book. At least in line with my professional training. Not making a book, but writing. What's your favorite high fashion brand from all the currently existing historical houses? From all the houses that have existed. I don't know. It's a tough question. It's a tough question to answer. In the past, I would have told you it was Rick because he's the Prince of Darkness, and I've just always found both the aesthetic he created, his commitment to design and pushing himself, his persona was always just so endearing for me. And I know he's even more of a meme than he ever was, but I'm gonna find a picture that I took with Caroline from like a trillion years ago where we dressed up as Rick and Michelle, and I bet it's before a lot of people even started caring about fashion. So you guys are into me possibly making a hoodie, t-shirt, or an OnlyFans. Or a book. Maybe I could do a book. Meth, accessories, bleach chair. I can't sell that. Make a good chore jacket. Okay. OnlyFans. God darn it. I don't know who's watching. If my grandma's still watching, I don't want to say a swear word. Croc jib. Caroline said that. Now I'm being trolled. See, this is what it's like. I'm being trolled by my own kin. Lingerie. No. Knockoffs. Oh, okay. Workwear. Thongs. No. No thongs. I've just finished sobbing and gripping by poverty. Okay. What do you think about the brand Mango? Mango is basically a fast fashion brand from Spain. that I mean, they make some good stuff. That I mean, like fast fashion designers. A lot of the time are people like you and I who love fashion and studied it, and they found a job that's going to pay them in real money, and it's at H&M or Mango or whatever. But there's still probably these people who are really enthusiastic about fashion, and they're trying some way to fulfilled the need and the reason that they were hired there, and that was to copy certain clothes. So you know, it's not always bad. Mango, I think, has made things that I think are interesting, but I think it's fast fashion brand. I don't think the quality is there. I think it's probably too expensive. And I think that there are, in all likelihood, better brands to shop from, ones that are maybe more authentic, ones that are better value. Do you know? That was one. Finna be yo fam. Sea Dog. Oh, thank you. Uh, Aloof. What do you think about? I already said that. Sorry. The clothing quality. You have a great sense of humor. You see that? Should I get some Birkenstocks Bostons? Yeah, Birkenstock's great. Would be really cool if you made a long form documentary. That's tough. Somebody asked me. Oh, I think it was Shim. Shim. Geez, let me pull him up. He asked a question, and like I said, I didn't really think about it. I didn't think about the answers for some of them. I would respond to people and go, "Hey, yeah, that's a good idea." Oh, okay, but I didn't answer or respond, so it's not at the top of mind. But I'll put his in, because he asked me something that I don't even know how to feel about it. All right, he asked, question. Are you planning on increasing budgets for your vids? I mean, you have a real nice talent in scripts, and some level of themes you bring up are really interesting and deserve more. Your vids still have a small channel DIY aesthetic. Are you planning to move on from them to a bigger and more pro? It's a great question, Shim. And I'm kind of like, you know, I'm like, it's like a backhanded compliment, you're like, you've got such a DIY aesthetic. I'm like, well, oh, do I? So what should I be doing? Okay. What kind of production do you guys want? Huh? Do you want me to get Keanu? Do you want Keanu Reeves to be a character in the Brave New Wear show? Like, yeah, Christian, I think that's a really cool fit. He's like, don't kill my dog or I'm gonna shoot you. Um, what would I do to improve the content quality? To some extent, I try to push myself to improve the quality of the videos with each video. That can mean a lot of different things. At least for me, it typically means like just doing better at storytelling, at putting it together. Sometimes I slip up. What would higher quality look like? Listen, guys, I want to become a billionaire and a YouTube star. That's what I want. So improving the quality for sure. I would love to take this to the next level. But what would that look like? I think it really depends on what is the need. What need do I need? Would I be fulfilling by making it higher production? I think to some extent, maybe if there wasn't a pandemic killing a lot of people in America, it would be interesting if I use the time and resources somehow, some way to like travel and interview people or do like segments like that. Like, like I have a camera guy with me and I'm constantly pitching to designers or artists, whatever, and I make it like a show, like a real show. Like if I had to pitch a show to Netflix, I would probably say something like, listen, this is what I do. I'm like a zany character and I talk to all these creatives and I figure out what their deal is. That would be higher production. If we're talking about the production of like my sets, the stew. I've been a vagabond right now. I'm like I said, I'm in Minnesota. I don't I'm this is not permanent for me. And Caroline and I will hopefully hopefully get a new permanent place soon, maybe back in New York. Once we do that, then I could try to make a real nice studio setup. What does high production look like? I think that at the end of the day, I will constantly try to make the videos better, but in terms of production value, I'm going to try to figure out how to mix music better. That's one thing. But I think quality of production will depend on the need of it. Like, what is the need that my audience wants? You know, do they need, so to speak, really glossy content, or do they actually need somebody to be earnest and relatable and talk about specific things that don't necessarily demand a Netflix budget? You know, because I think that as soon as like maybe let's say I make some kind of new content and it builds a lot of traction. You guys are like, I love it. It was so great. And I'm like, oh, I should keep doing this and keep doing it better. If, well, for whatever reason, that content would demand me to improve the quality, that's when I would feel compelled to do so. Never make a little cartoon version of yourself be talking. If I had a little cartoon version of myself, he would be here right now. And I would be still playing Cyberpunk, you know. Check into this. Oh, you're a cyber psycho. Oh, I'm gonna cut you in half. Which other account would you like to partner with for a vid? Anyone. Any account. Any account with more followers. I would be probably, I don't know, maybe the old guard. Anybody among the old guard. I would totally collaborate with them if they wanted to. But I think that if any of them have even watched any of my videos, I don't know if you guys saw this. Sanjeev responded to a comment I wrote. I was like, wow, I guess I've made it, huh? If any of them pay any attention to the content that I currently make, I don't know, they may not immediately see any kinship in it because it just, maybe it comes off as obnoxious and amateurish. And maybe it's just not developed or honed enough where it's obvious what I am about or what I do. But I think I love fashion in a similar way, but in a different way. I just have never been able to make content built around like pickups or my wardrobe or styling guides necessarily that aren't like the what I do, the advanced aesthetic. My greatest asset isn't really the things I have or being hot or having a lot of Instagram followers. I think my greatest asset is kind of creativity and knowledge of how like to be journalistic, I guess, like what's newsworthy or what would be an interesting way to tell a story. I haven't always been good at that, honestly. Making too high production would feel kind of unrelatable or disconnecting. Yeah, but like, imagine if it was like it looks like so like it was like in 8K, like Michael Bay kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, I imagine you guys don't care about how the video looks or sounds because in the past and the current. High production or production while you're high? Tough. Do I have to do both? TBH, it would be cool to have a podcast in which you discuss your topics you like in depth. Maybe. I think there are a lot of podcasts out there. But I agree that sometimes there's stuff I want to do videos about, and then I'll record like an hour, and I'm like, you can't include this in a video. It's too long and rambly. And then I have to chop it down. But if it was a podcast, people listen to podcasts of virtually any length, and I could just keep talking about something. But then again, it always returns in my mind, like, what is the need? What need do people have? How am I serving that? How would I serve it by making a podcast that they're not already getting? Would I try to interview people? I think there's already interview styles, like, the Kings, Pair of Kings. I think that they have a hilarious and fun podcast. They're endearing and charming characters who that already exists. My podcast might be another addition into a oversaturated market that hates me for even making it. English mature. I don't know who that is, but thank you. You need a podcast. Podcast can be cozy. I thought you said corny. I used to produce a podcast, so you would think that that would mean I know how to mix music. It doesn't. I just respond to a Craigslist ad. But it was serious. I've talked about it before. It's called "What's the Big Idea?" I don't think Andrew still is making episodes right now. The pandemic basically put everything upside down, and his other businesses have taken off. So doing the podcast, I don't think he works on it, and I stepped down from producing it. But as by produce, I mean a lot of the content, social media stuff, and like interacting with guests. Oh shoot, it was lagging, and then just chopping it up in Audition, which I can do. But Christian VTuber, oh no, what? What if I don't really like thrift store shopping? Then don't go in. You don't have to shop at the thrift store. Who cares? If you've got money, just shop at Essence. If you don't like it, don't do it. The only reason I ever did was because it was always the cheapest place to get weird clothes, frankly. And because, thrift is usually outside of what is trendy and can be a peculiar. And I often, it was me shopping in the women's part of the thrift store because there's just more stuff. It's more experimental and interesting. I'm noticing that my computer, the stream is lagging. Ugh, I hope that's not going to continue. And I have maybe 20 minutes left before I have to go. I spent my last days glued to the screen playing Cyberpunk. Same, basically. I've been edging the game. I keep saying because I play a little and then I have to go and do something else, and I'm like, I want to play. Do you do feedback on brands? Would you mind looking at Room 1? Was that an ad? You gotta pay for this. Hey, I just read an ad. I demand money. Maybe I will. I have been thinking about doing like, here's a lineup of a bunch of startup brands. Like, here's a bunch of brands. And they sent me their stuff, and I'm going to look at it and give my thoughts. I already answered thoughts on Stotts Ballet. Sorry, Paul. You might have asked me, you might have been the IG that I answered. I answered it. I think that it feels like an artisanal, like a brand that would exist in Atelier, the store in New York. And I don't know what the future is because Avery broke up with I'm totally trying to blank out her name. I'm sorry. With the former girlfriend who's also an influencer, and I don't know if he's now actually going to spend more energy on his other brand because I know he released sunglasses, which aren't boots. So maybe he's more interested in that. I think an example, you guys could probably correct me, would be Logic something, making his style videos. Okay, that might be interesting. I'll check him out. Congrats, Chris. Chin. I didn't give you permission to call me Chris. Love your channel and how you break down stuff. Just stopped by to pay respect. And he just was trying to respect me, and that's how rude I am. Thank you. What's your favorite boots? If I could, like, my grail, quote unquote, has always been Guides. I want a pair of Guides, the ones with the zip in the back and the stacks in front, like in like a Rick Milk White, you know how they have, and like a calf, not calfskin, horsehide. I want somebody. I want there. It came off of a pony that somebody loved, and they skinned it. They turned it into a boot. That is my favorite boot with the heel. One day I will have a pair. I've been wanting them for years. I could easily talk for an hour. Obviously, I've been talking for nearly 2 hours here, and I'm fine with it. Do you play WoW Classic? Here's the thing, bro. I played WoW before any expansions a million years ago. And that was my introduction to the game. And then I played more in the Burning Crusade. And then peak my WoW playing was Wrath of the Lich King. And then after that, I stopped basically because I had to move on. I was spending too much time with childish things. So when Classic did come out, I was like, are you kidding me? You people want to play an old broke game that was like hard and deliberately took too much time and was like a nightmare? It was fun when I was in middle school, but you want to do it again? Needless to say, I said, I'll try it because I'm going to show these scrubs how it's done. And I played it for a little bit. I did not play a lot of WoW Classic, but they tricked me successfully. And that playing WoW Classic kind of enticed me to play retail again. And now I have a live subscription. But what are the books? Zach, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that graphic. But God bless them for answering. Kaylee, I'm sorry. Avery's former love interest, his name is Kaylee. I was drawing a blank. I've met her in person, and they've always, both of them, been very nice to me. To me, a peasant, a nobody. They're both like tall and attractive. The way that you might imagine somebody on the internet is. And like me, I'm like, like I'm like, hello. Well, I like your clothes. But both were very nice. And if they continue to develop that brand, I think it would be very interesting. Sorry, it wasn't an ad. I agree. I was just teasing. You did. I think it would be interesting to answer Shard, to answer you again. I think it would be interesting to get a bunch of clothes from startup brands and talk about a bunch of startup brands. I've been playing Cyberpunk every day since it came out. I downloaded it early. I've been playing it. The game could have been legit trash if, as long as it was like a Cyberpunk RPG game where I can make my own punk and run around in like a Blade Runner, Android Stream of Electric Sheep world. I would anyway. I would do that even if the game was more broken. But I think that I think it's rather entertaining. You would be a good fashion model. Thank you. Thanks, dude. That's nice of you to say. Funny story. When one of the first years I was in New York, I was like in a Dwayne Reed, which is a Rite Aid or pharmacy. And I was like checking out. And I think at the time I had like bleached hair and I was probably wearing some crazy outfit. And some dude walks up to me. He's like, if you ever want to be represented, here's my card. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Me? A model? But then like moments later, I heard him in the Dwayne Reed still on his phone having some kind of desperate, loud argument with somebody. And I'm like, this guy's probably a scam person. But I don't know. Hard to say. Be a model. Modeling comes down to a lot. There are unique skills that models are good at, and I've recognized that from knowing some. Do you like throwing fits, failing upwards? Yeah, I think they're hilarious. I've been to 2 of their live events, their live streams back in the day. They're obnoxious, but it's your own taste. What is your nick when playing WoW and other games? Like my name, like my nickname? It depends. I think my account is like Shabetta1, but all my characters are different. I wish I had more of like this is like my character name variant. My brother does that. He's probably watching and he heard me compliment him. How tall are you? 5'8". Not that tall. Kanye's height. White Kanye, they've called me. What books? Beth, I answered. Free me from this trap, Beth. Free me. I answered your question. Okay, it's almost 5 here. I answered. I'm trapped. Beth, you haven't snared me. This was supposed to be a celebration. Oh, I brought like a beer. Guys, let's get freaking wasted tonight. And I don't care if you're underage or like you're in a country where it's like illegal, or I want to see everybody get whacked out of their minds. Not really. Drugs are dangerous and destructive. Though 3 more people started watching as soon as I did that. Wow! Wow! I'm so drunk! Oh! Whoa! It didn't work again. Drunk driving is not funny. You should never drive intoxicated. And for you guys in like Colorado, Rocky Mountain High, or California, I lost 5. Well, anyway, if you live in a state where it's legal, you should not smoke weed and drive. I don't care if you're like I think you're an expert at it. That's totally a bad idea. Never drive intoxicated. You're doing something extremely selfish. I understand that you could find yourself in situations where you're like, I have to drive home, but you need to figure something else out, because the consequences of doing so could potentially destroy your life and destroy the lives of other people. I don't know why I'm wild. About to pop an Eddie. Okay. Zanny. Yeah. Guys, barbiturates like Xanax or any kind of other downers can be really destructive and not only take your life, but make you really slow. So be very careful. I know you're kids, you're gonna party anyway, but you shouldn't do prescription drugs, because you mix that with alcohol, you're basically gonna die. Didn't like doesn't Lil Wayne have like seizures now because of like lean or like stuff like variants of that? I think he's had like actual neurological problems from doing drugs. Those are benzo, not okay. My brother's in medical school and he's correcting me. Guys, everybody who's still watching, I need to defeat my brother. And if he's going to become a doctor, I have to become the equivalent of that on YouTube. Go out, my army, and seed the seeds so that we together can win and prove once and for all that the arts are better than STEM. Okay, I really should be going soon. So like let me just do one like last like what do you call it? Check, because I have other commitments today at 5. And I didn't really eat dinner. Din. I think there might have been some questions on, or you guys can throw me some last questions. If you have any last questions, give them to me right now. Yeah, let's go to war against your brother. I agree. Fashion surgeon. That's an idea. That's an idea. Fashion surgeon. Fashion doctor. Yes, I am a doctor. Hello. Oh, yes. Not only that, but Caroline has her master's in her field of study. It's a terminal degree. She's a professor. So she's smarter than me. My brother will be on paper smarter than me. I'm losing everything. I'm losing my edge, guys. I have nothing left. Have you watched Kids by Larry Clark? You know, it's an iconic movie. I obviously went to school in the west, or you mean like near Washington Square Park and that whole area. I know people who work at Supreme, and that movie is like it's all tied up in the zeitgeist. I haven't actually watched it. I should. but I know what you're referring to. Opinions on bare knuckles. I think that it's sick. I think it's really great. I think Jacob Keller is killing it. You know, I sent a DM to what's his face recently. The other guy did not respond. I'm not actually like mean or spiteful or any of those things, guys. I am serious about defeating my brother though, and I need your help. This is like it's a power to the people sort of thing. You guys are gonna have to help me get there. But if I'm like being fresh or something, Cole McBride, yeah, yeah. I wish he responded to me. I wanted to get info from him for my last Levi's video or potentially a future one because he obviously knows a lot but he didn't get back to me. I could send him another DM. I'm sure he's not being rude. He probably gets a lot of DMs. I get a lot of DMs, and look how small I am. But I would love to get his input, data, interview for a follow-up Levi's video because that's like Cole over Jacob. Okay. Why is Kelly saying that? Oh, because I said I wanted to defeat my brother. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I will win. Being tired of pale and tired eye gang is better than being a doctor. Hello. Avery, I think your YouTube videos are so good. Yeah, bare knuckles I think is pretty cool. Priced accordingly. Listen, guys, I am thrilled that you wanted to hang out this long. Budget video. Like I make a video on a budget. Like I try to get like the cheapest camera I can find. That's an idea. Some guy named Kyle Ackerman is getting replies from Cole and not me. Well, Kyle, you're obviously cooler than me, huh? Can you do a bald head video? I'm gonna close the window for you guys to actually ask me any real questions. Super cozy to chill out with you. Thank you, Anton. Privyet. You'll have to teach me Russian. Can you leave this video? I will. I think it's going to. Is it gonna go somewhere? I would. I don't care. Hairstyling video. Hello? What am I supposed to do? Maybe my plan is when all this blows over, I'll grow my hair out again because then I will feel comfortable getting a haircut again. You guys, if you're leaving now, that's totally cool, but I'm going to continue talking until I stop. I really appreciate all you guys hanging out. It's the best live stream I've ever done in terms of audience retention. Let your hair grow into a mullet. I used to work with somebody who had a mullet, and I'm kind of triggered by that. Maybe. Hey, congrats. Never going to leave. Thank you. YOLO. I remember. Do you enjoy playing sports? No, I mean, in high school, I was the captain of the tennis team my senior year, actually. I liked that. I skied a lot because I grew up mostly in New Hampshire, and that was just like they make you ski in school. They're like, you have to learn how to ski. And I love to ski. I would love to go skiing again. Do I play like I don't do like soccer or like do softball with the boys or anything like that, or hoops. Did you check out? Oh, I didn't, Anton. I didn't check out the Reebok pants. I wanted to. I should. You can link it right now. If you have a link, put it in right now, and I won't leave until you get the link. Maybe I would do more live streams. It was fun for me, but it does seem like a waste of everyone's time. It's wasted your time. No. No, this is a lot less effort. 2 hours is actually a lot less effort compared to making a video. Let your hairs grow into a mullet, every little hair. It's everyone's dream to be Kyle. Yeah. Should I make a Twitch? Twitch stream? Should I make an ebook? I've been thinking about it. I know it's like, well, you would rather have a physical thing, but I think getting something printed and published right now is going to be rather challenging. And that also involves capital up front. And guys, I'm strapped for cash. I've got some cyber psychos on my back who need money now. And if I don't pay up, they're gonna chop my dick off. I'm sorry I had to say that, but it's true. And I can't afford to get a cyber dick right now, so I need money. Twitch, OnlyFans. I know. I just really don't want to. Like bigly. Yes to an ebook and a Twitch. You can make money easier on Twitch. Is that how you make money? Twitch? I thought it was YouTube. No, I mean, I think it's crazy to me that, like, I mean, I spend so much time on the videos. Like, at any moment that I can, I spend on the videos. I certainly work more than what I make in terms of revenue. You know, that's the name of the game. The only reason I do it is because I love it, and you guys do this. You respond in the way that you do. But I would love to make more money. That would really save my cyber dick. Let's make a dunk YouTube vid. A drunk. You think I'm sober in these videos? I'm joking. I'm always sober. Never do a drug. Not one. I don't care if you go to the doctor and they prescribe you something. Also, vaccines are just 5G that they're trying to inject into your body in order to make it so a bat grows in you. My stupid brother who's going to medical school says otherwise, but I don't think so. I did my own research. Shut up, you SOB. Do a saying Rick Owens 100,000 times video. That's an idea. People would click on that. On Twitch, it's easier to donate money. Well, what do I do? I mean, I could play video games. I love playing video games, but I should do something else. Like maybe I learn how to paint. I'll figure it out. How much is a cyber deck? It's like, it's not cheap. There are a lot of prongs, you know, that go in. When you first get it installed, it's a little uncomfortable, but the price of a cyber deck is the price of Caroline and I returning to New York and living a comfortable life. What do you think of the new Balenciaga collection? I don't know. I should look at it in more detail. I've seen, you know, parts. I need text, Caroline. We gonna start soon. So I can't really answer that about the Balenciaga. But you know, I think Demna's superb. Well, there goes your money. Oh no! I said Cyberdick. Now I'm never gonna make money. Oh no, guys. Screen share yourself online shopping. That's an idea. And then I'm like, well, I wish I could buy this. I wish there was a pay pig who would donate. So I'm spinning together. It's Twitch and fans only. I'm like, I wish a pay pig would buy me this luxury clothing. Ye paint stuff that Chad tells you to paint. Okay. Only problem is I have no talent. Okay, last time. Balenciaga video game is something, I imagine. That's what I've seen. Custom design clothes like painting and redying. So people get triggered. Yeah, like I wreck stuff. I'm gonna be late now. I'm almost like I'm like, how long can this go on? How long will you guys stay here? All night? Um, what about dinner? Caroline, what about dinner? Respond in text. Don't respond in this. Make videos on literature. But how do you share the written word in a video? I guess I could make a video on literature. It seems, I had an idea. I did have an idea, but I was actually thinking of it for a different thing. It would be tough. It would be tough for me to do it in a way that I think would be fascinating and would also be relevant for you guys. Don't then. Midnight in France. In Paris, you mean? What's for dinner? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I have some food I can heat up. Guys, okay. By food, I mean chicken tendies. I have some in the freezer. Chicken tendies. I should definitely go. I have to do another thing in 5 minutes. Guys, I'm so thrilled to be able to talk to you all. So the next time we kind of have like a brainstorm session about how I'm going to make money, I would hope that you're all going to be there, whether that's on Twitch, me making money, or me writing in a book, or whatever it is. Either way, guys, I am truly thrilled and honored to be your YouTuber Choice Award winner. And here's to the next 90,000 subscribers so that we get that silver play button. The day that happens, I'm gonna like get a bottle of champagne or Prosecco that I call champagne. I'm gonna go like answer your DM. Come on, man. Don't troll me. Anyway, I gotta go. I got stuff to do. Not nerd stuff. Not nerd stuff at all. Real stuff that's cool. And I love you guys. As long as I can add value, as long as I can entertain you or teach you, I will continue to do this. Hopefully, we're gonna crack that nut about how I'm gonna make money doing it more. All of us are together, and we're going to defeat my brother. And if we do, a college could very well give me an honorary doctorate. Like, that isn't out of the realm of possibility. NYU could. If I become famous enough, there are a lot of famous people who went to NYU. There are a lot of famous people who went to NYU when I was there. But the sky's the limit for us. The channel does so well that NYU or another, hopefully prestigious university, gives me an honorary doctorate. I defeat my brother, and fashion reigns supreme. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And I will see you in the next video, which comes out on Wednesday. I just got to do a little more tweaks and it's going to come out. What's it going to be about? I don't know. Teaser? Maybe it's a new Brave New Chair video. Later! Later, guys. I'll try to keep this video up. I have to go. Seriously, I have 2 minutes now. Catch you on the flip side.